Hey folks, it's Finn. Happy New Year. Yes, I know it's a bit late. Apologies for the silence. I know it's been a few days since I last vlogged. That was a bit like a confession, wasn't it? Forgive me, it's been 12 days since my last vlog. So I thought I'd just pop in today to say Happy New Year and to talk a bit about goals for the year ahead, reflections on the year gone by, and a bit of a catch up as to where we are in terms of Mumsy and all of the above. So if you follow my vlogs and you've seen a few of my past New Year catch ups, I don't really do resolutions as such. Mainly because, well, for a couple of reasons really. I'm in recovery, and before I got clean and sober, I made lots of resolutions. It's going to be different today, you know, all this kind of business. And it's like constantly setting yourself up for a fail. And also, as a person with challenging mental health, I don't think that having resolutions are very helpful. It can feel like a real pressure to kind of say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to change that. And especially after Christmas, where it's been heightened stress, the last thing you want is extra pressure on yourself. So if anything, the new year, if it's going to be a resolution, it should be to give yourself a break and just do the best you can on a daily basis. One day at a time is how I live my life, and I much prefer to set daily goals to do the best I can on a daily basis, depending on what condition in which I wake up. I wake up, I set goals for the day, and I do my best. That doesn't mean to say I don't have aspirations or intentions of what I'd like to achieve, but by not setting hard and fast rules, it's much more organic, because let's face it, we change every single second of the day. And so if I set myself a goal, in the time it takes for me to try and achieve that goal, I might actually have changed and think that actually that goal doesn't suit me anyway. So it's good to have kind of aspirations and intentions, but to keep them very organic on a daily basis. Or at least that's how I like to live. Before I talk about my intentions for the year ahead, which I'm going to achieve organically on a daily basis, I want to just do a little bit of a reflection, and reflection is a massive part of my daily programme. But I like to do a really, really big reflection on the new year and look back at kind of where I thought I might be in a year's time and all of that. This year I used this, the Year Compass. I'll put the website link at the bottom, and you can download this tool, and in it is loads and loads of questions about what you wanted for the last year, and looking at your high times of last year and what you learned and what you want to take forward with you and all of that. Really, really, really powerful reflection tool, and I've loved doing that. Last year for me was a real up and down year, wasn't it? With surgery going wrong, and then dealing with a huge amount of dysphoria back in my life. And then despite that huge dysphoria, suddenly finding myself involved in romantic and intimate relationships with different people, that the sort of people I'd never usually normally pick. And I found myself doing things very differently, exploring different genders. And wow, that really came out of the blue. I was not expecting that, to go from an awful dysphoric feeling to this euphoric feeling was one of huge surprise. But then of course, Mum got really ill, and then from June last year through to even now, it's been doing this with Mum. Hence me moving to Eastbourne, because trying to cope with all that from Devon, 5 hours away, was impossible. Hence moving here. So last year was really, really up and down. I did set myself some goals last year to write. I'm really, really pleased that that's still ongoing. However, this is what I mean about goals, okay? Where you set yourself this goal, and then in moving forward to achieving it, you suddenly find that paths go off everywhere. I started writing my memoir, kind of, my coming out and what have you, and I realised that I couldn't possibly talk about my coming out as trans without first talking about my getting sober, because for me, if I hadn't got clean and sober, I'd never have been able to recognise what all that pain was underneath, because it was blurred by booze, and I wouldn't have had the courage had it not been for the strength of recovery I've got, and for the new way of living and looking at life and responding to life I have that's been given to me by AA. So I also I started to rewrite things, but then realised it was just an autobiography. It was like, I was born, bloody, 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 blah, which wasn't what I wanted. And I read a couple of how to write a memoir book, and a lot of them were talking about themes, about writing around a theme, and that's what a memoir should be. A memoir is not like, I was born, this happened, I died. And so I started to re-look at what I was writing, and now I've got about 4 books on the go. So my goal for this year is to focus on one of those and finish one of those and get that to a publisher. And it would be my absolute dream if this year a publisher would say yes and I'd get my first book published. Hear that? First book, one of many. It really would suit me. I said this last year in my update. I am not a lazy bloke by any stretch of the imagination, but I've not been able to get back to paid work. I've been doing loads of different types of work, but it's all been voluntary. And I've been saying, you know, I really wanted to get back to work, but it doesn't seem to be possible for me to do so. My mental health, I've got really good at looking after myself mentally. But when you have mental health issues, your scales are always offset. My centre of balance is always here, and I can be fine here. But the trouble is, that means that when something happens, it's much easier to tip the scales. If you start with your scales nicely balanced here, and something comes on, you can still balance a bit. But if your scales are already like this and something hits you there, you've gone. And that's what I find often happens with me. With Mum now, you know, I've had to cancel uni. I can't possibly manage that right now. I can't even do volunteer work at the moment, let alone moved into paid work every day of the week. You know, it's just something that's not possible right now. And it's something I often find myself feeling bad about myself for, and that's not helpful at all. It's not from not wanting to work, it's just I need to be able to work in a way that suits my mental health, that I can respond to how I'm feeling and slow things down and simplify things when I need to and speed things up when I'm well, you know. So writing for me would be the answer, because it would mean I could work at my own pace, in my own time, in my own home, and it would definitely suit. So I'm glad I'm moving forward in that writing goal, and hopefully this year will be the one where I'm on a bookshelf in Waterstones. Intention, oh yes. The other New Year goal I was talking about last year was changing the way I write journals, and I started a bullet journal. I'm pleased to say I'm still doing that, and I've got this year's new one, because my decor in my lounge is kind of azure, teal blue. I went for one that matches, of course I did. So I've done my year reflection. I started my new bullet journal. I love using the bullet journal. I'm so glad I found out about this, and it's something that's grown with me in what I need throughout the year. My main intention for this year is to settle into Eastbourne. Last year I did lots of kind of travelling around and seeing different people and experiencing stuff, and that was fantastic. But this year I want things to be much more close to home. I need to anyway, because I need to take care of myself, because I am quite rocky at the moment. But also I really want to connect with my local community. You know, my best mate Will is very nearby now. I've got friends in various places in Sussex. I've reconnected with some childhood friends, which has been wonderful. And I feel like my moving here is a big call to healing, because this is where everything went wrong for me, is Eastbourne. And every time I walk around and revisit places, it's bringing up lots of reflection on time gone on, in a positive way, because it showed me how far I've come. So I feel at the moment, with being here, these coastal walks I've talked about doing is something I really want to do now I'm back in Sussex. And I can use that, as I did intend to reflect and heal from the past. And I think, you know, we're all called to do a bit of healing. And if we can answer that call and do it, it really greatly improves our lives. And what an amazing call to healing, that I'm not only just in my head revisiting stuff, I'm physically back in the place where my drinking, drug use, mental health stuff, all of that happened, and I get to actually be here and heal from it. How incredible is that? So this year is very much about finding a way of looking after mum whilst everything is so up in the air with her still, finding out a way to look after myself around that, to reconnect locally so that I'm not going off here, there and everywhere. I am here. I have a solid network of friends around me. I'm actually starting a kind of therapy support group next week. It's for people who have mental health challenges and care for somebody else to help you kind of manage your life. And I thought I could really do with that. So I'm connecting a lot with services for support for myself around being a carer and support for my mental health, because I think that's what I need to do. Connect with the local community, connect with support groups, connect with AA, and really just kind of find a new way to develop new routines about looking after myself while still looking after mum. It's difficult when you're responsible for someone else to manage being responsible for yourself as well, and it's so important, because if I don't look after myself, I can't look after mum, can I? So my goal this year really is on a daily basis to find different ways to do that. My ultimate goal, aspiration, intention is always to just be the best person I can be, to be open to experience the good, the bad, and use that for forward growth, because I do believe that's what we're here for, and it's something I really enjoy even when I'm going through tough times. Nobody likes a tough time, but I always come out of it growing. I mean, last year is a big lesson in that. I went through some of the toughest times last year, and I really, really grew from it. So I believe the same thing now with mum. With what's going on with mum, will settle at some point. It'll all settle into its own routine. Handing back her keys to her flat next week will help. My brother Mark is coming down tomorrow. He's visiting for a week so that we can finish off mum's flat, get the keys handed back, and actually once that's done, it's just a case of then maintaining her financial state while she's in the nursing home and just looking after her and providing support and advocacy and companionship for her, so it will all be a little bit easier. What won't be easier is the ongoing frustration of just not knowing why she developed such extreme dementia symptoms so very quickly. She's had a brain scan, it showed nothing. I mean, it showed she had a brain. Dementia doesn't always show in scans. There are other scans they can do to look, but I think both me and my brother hoped that they'd do this scan, they'd notice an area of brain that would explain everything. That's not been the case. So we don't know why mum went from 1 minute texting and up and down the seafront quite independently to now not even knowing who she is. It's all been very frustrating. Knowing why something happens, it feels like it could help. Sometimes it doesn't though, does it? Who knows? So if we can't know for sure, it's just about moving into acceptance, isn't it? Everything is about acceptance. If I get cross and frustrated, that's not really going to help, is it? I've just got to move into a place of acceptance about what's happening with mum. And do you know what? I've fallen more in love with her lately, because this little vulnerable, tiny human relies on us for everything now. And because she's so poorly, any drama that might have remained is just gone. And I love her, and I just want her to be okay. So my year is going to be around making sure she's okay and making sure I'm okay as well around that. So yeah, there you go. That's my intentions for the year ahead, to continue to find ways to look after myself and to continue to write and just to say yes to life and to follow whatever the universe sends my way, because it's worked so far, so I trust it'll continue to work. Before I sign off, I want to answer some questions about the gerbils. People haven't seen them behind me because they are here. They're just very, 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 very old. Hence, this top isn't actually on. It's only on in case they suddenly develop superhuman strength and manage to jump out. I lost the black one, Yin, a little while back. The other two are about flipping 360 years old and very doddery. They sleep most of the time, so now we're just on the ground floor because they can't make stairs and they haven't invented standard stair lifts for gerbils, so we have to have them on the ground floor, but I thought I'd do a vlog with them behind me to show you that they are still there. And also, before I go, I had some lovely cards that arrived after Christmas that I want to share with you. I had one arrive in the most sheepy of envelopes. Look at that. And that one was from Jen, Jason and Easy 2. Is that how you pronounce his name? Easy, I gather, is the dog. I hope she's not going to mind me showing you this, but look how cute that dog is. It's amazing. If you have no objections, I hope not, because I'm just showing it on YouTube, this will go on my postcard wall. I also received this lovely one from Nick and Nova. And this one, look at that. Isn't that amazing? And that one is from Lisa. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, everybody. It's lovely to still keep receiving cards, because with cards comes love, and I do love a bit of love. As I said, Marky's here next week, so it might be a little bit busy, but I do plan, as well as everything else, to get back into a vlogging routine. I know I've been very quiet on the whole transition side of things and lower surgery, so I want to update about that. And just everything else. So, yes, you will see me again soon, and I will be making it regular again soon. I'm always thinking of you, and you can always come and find me over on the FinnTheInfinncible page on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. You know, I put my face everywhere because I am just a selfie queen. Happy New Year again, everybody. Take care of yourselves. See you very soon. Love you, bye.